Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming out this morning. Earlier this year, as all of you obviously know, I found myself facing a horrible charge, one that I vowed to fight every step of the way. I'm glad to announce that after having my file extensively examined by the authorities for the better part of a year, the charge against me has been dropped, and there's no longer a criminal case against me. The situation has been hard on all of those involved. I want to really thank my family, my friends, and supporters for their words of encouragement during the past few months. Personally, I am happy to live in a place where people's reports are taken seriously by the justice system, where no one stands above the law, and where being an elected official means more scrutiny in the justice system, not less, and where the justice system is able to distinguish predatory behavior from awkward dates that could have benefited from more communication. I'm very glad to be exonerated of this charge, to have my name cleared, and to have this issue behind me. As previously discussed, over the past couple days, over the next couple days rather, I'll be transitioning back to office, to the office that I was elected to, and I will be resuming full duties on Monday. I want to thank our acting mayor, Councillor Steve Malani, for his work over the past few days and weeks, filling in after I chose to step away until I was cleared of this charge. The office of mayor will not be commenting further on my personal legal matter, but I will say that in the coming weeks, I'll be trying to arrange a meeting with our Minister of Local Government to push for much needed reform legislation to clarify how these kind of situations are handled, so that no other community in BC has to go through something similar. I'm very regretful of some of the division that has been caused in our community, although I am glad to see this charge behind me. Thank you for your interest. I'll take a couple questions, and I will note that obviously I'm bound by some of the confidentiality around the processes.
Mr. Mayor, David Mullen from CTV News.
Thank you.
You were exonerated, but under alternative measures, that in essence is it's a deal. The criminal code says the offender has to be willing to acknowledge responsibility for the alleged offense. Did you acknowledge some sort of responsibility for your alleged behavior?
So first of all, I do want to say I'm always responsible for all of my actions. I've been 100% consistent with the authorities from the very beginning, all the way through with what I did do and what I did not do. At the end of the day, the charge has been dropped against me. And I will make a correction there. The criminal code, if you pull it actually from the criminal code provision itself, speaks about taking responsibility for your actions, if I'm not mistaken, that have led to a charge. So I think that's a bit of a correction there on your part.
Can you tell us what alternative measures?
Could we just get your name and your company? Thank you.
Can you tell us what alternative measures you participated in or what you actually did?
For sure. The alternative measures process, first off, it was approved by the Crown. It was agreed to by the complainant. I apologized to the complainant way back when this first came out for the awkward date that we had. I apologized again recently. And if she brought this up back in 2015, I would have gladly apologized then, because it was never my intention to leave her with any kind of negative impression. And there was nothing else involved in the alternative measures program.
Do you think of CBC, do you think of yourself as a victim of this?
Of what part specifically?
Of the whole experience?
Well, I mean, it hasn't been a pleasant process to go through, but like I said, it hasn't been easy on anybody involved. I think that the same can be said for the complainant for sure. I know firsthand that has not been an easy process to go through. I don't. To answer your question, no, I don't see myself as a victim.
Well, Gary McKenna, Tri-City News.
Thank you.
You said last March that you would be pursuing a libel action. Have you hired a libel lawyer? Will you be pursuing a defamation?
I didn't say that. I said that that's something that I'm going to be exploring. It's something that is, this is day one after the fact. I think it's a little bit early for that sort of stuff, but it's obviously decisions that will be made in the coming future. Frankly, it's something that is personal and private between two people, but that's something that I haven't decided on yet.
You said at the time it was one of the allegations were false. You stand stand by that?
Yeah, like I said, I have been 100% consistent with what I did do, what I didn't do with the authorities, and at the end of the day, the charge has been dropped.
How do you think you'll be received coming back to work?
Well, we've already seen a little bit of division there by one of our councillors earlier yesterday with regards to this. I've always been consistent with the standard I'm applying for myself. I supported the council motion requesting from the BC provincial government that any politician that's charged with a crime be forced on leave, and that any politician in BC that is convicted of a crime be forced out of office. That's something that I support. It's something that I intend to bring forward to the minister as soon as possible. I know there's been a petition circling Port Moody to that effect, and I think it's really important because no community in Port Moody deserves, or in BC deserves to have that kind of angst that's caused by a lack of clarity from the province. And we've seen this in the past in Port Coquitlam. We've seen it in the past in other jurisdictions, and I think that this situation, I think, would have been handled a lot smoother if we had clarity from the province.
Mr. Mayor, one of the things Diana Dilworth said yesterday is, quote, "I think he owes the residents a level of transparency and accountability. He needs to make peace with the community." How can you make peace with those who may not really support you or trust you after the last 7 or 8 months? What do you want to say to them?
Yeah, it's a really good question. It's something that I've been thinking about, ever since this ordeal has been taking place. I think that there are lessons that were learned. I think in the process of coming back when I did. I think that in hindsight, obviously that didn't sit well with folks. To have somebody who was still facing a charge even though it was on its way out. The amount of information that was out in the public versus what I am aware of going through the process, obviously there's a discrepancy there. So I understand why that was an issue for folks, and I think again one of the biggest pieces here is clarity around the provincial government, and I want to make it very clear that I support that, and I think it's really important that we get that from the province.
Are you apologizing, though, broadly speaking, to the people of Port Moody for the events the last 7 or 8 months?
Yeah, I'm deeply regretful of the amount of division that has been caused in the community. Absolutely.
How do you mend fences, though?
Sorry?
How do you mend fences? You yourself.
No, that's a great question. That's something that I'm going to have to do a lot of thinking about over the coming weeks and months as I come back to office. And I think the number one thing that I could be best focusing on is the things I got elected to do. The focus on development, focus on environmental protection, looking at protecting our parks in Port Moody. I think ultimately that's the fundamental job of anybody that's in elected office, is to focus on the things they got elected to do. And despite any hard times that may come about the community.
Ashley City News. What do you mean by an awkward date? Can you just explain what it is?
Yeah, I mean, it's, like I said, some of the things that are, some of the pieces of this are still confidential. What I can say is that I went on a number of dates with a complainant back in 2015. It wasn't a match, and it wasn't until 3.5, almost 4 years later that it was raised to me that the complainant, felt like she had an issue with the way that the date went down, and that's, next thing you know, we're here.
Do you think you did anything wrong on that date?
Well, I left somebody with a negative impression, and I feel awful about that.
Do you believe you still will enjoy the confidence of the public in Port Moody?
Well, that's a question definitely for the coming few weeks, as far as what kind of things we can get accomplished. In the last couple of weeks that I was back temporarily, we got a lot of priorities of the public, sort of got the ball rolling on a lot of those, and we'll see how this unfolds.
What, if anything, have you learned through all of this?
I mean, where to begin? I learn things every day, and I think that that's a question I'll have to get back on you on for a number of, to try to narrow that down.
Who's paying for communications? What was the thinking between hiring that communications firm?
I don't really have a comment on my choice of communications firm.
Who's paying for it?
Oh, myself. Yeah, yeah.
And what was the thinking behind hiring any communications firm?
Because I'm a person in public office, I'm in the public eye. I want to make sure that the press is involved in any of the big announcements that happen. They were kind enough to send out a press release for me, and yeah. Okay, I want to thank everybody for coming out. Thank you for your interest in this, and we'll see you guys around.